What's up, everybody? My name's Hunter. I'm from Gator Games, and today I'm going to talk to you about why you should be excited about orcs in Warhammer 40k 11th edition. Well, first off, green is best. Obviously. Otherwise, what are some reasons to be excited? I'd say this is the first time orcs have been the main antagonist in years. Assault on Black Reach was the last time we were the big bad. So that's like 5 editions ago, 6 editions ago. Long time. And for that reason, we are getting so many new refreshes that are changing the game. Banner Knob is back. He went Legends in 10th edition. He sort of does a similar thing, but I would argue even better now. Docker Rig is sick. Great new models on the horizon, too. So, no better time to be an orc than now. Especially look at that truck. It is a goddamn monster truck. What more can you ask for? Also, 11th edition really favors melee pressure armies. So, because of the way the fields are, because of the way the new hidden mechanic and the cover mechanic works, orcs are in favor currently. So, don't sleep on orcs. Also, what I love about orcs is that you can choose your flavor. Not everybody's Waaagh tastes the same. So, a couple different ways that I see us playing orcs moving into 11th edition. I would say advance in action, green tide, tactical brigade, anything that gives us advance in action, right? So tactical brigade, great choice. I believe disruption would be your best option for that, but priority assets, if you like playing vehicles, I think blitz brigade, priority assets, move up the board, fight for the center, do actions. We have a lot of cheap action units. It's not bad for us. Swarm and overrun. I see this as the green tide players. You could play Warhorde this way, or you could even play I don't know, I lost it. You could play Bully Boys as well, right? Swarm, if you just want to run a lot of boys, run the boys up the field, run into your opponent, keep them from scoring because you just kept them in combat the entire game, right? Great way to play. If you like running a million models, sometimes I don't, but if you do like running a million models, that's the way to play Swarm and Overrun. So take and hold. Arguably, I'd say we're not the best for Purge the Foe. I think that favors shooting fast moving armies. We're pretty fast, one turn of the game. So I wouldn't rely on Purge. I'm leaning more towards the last one, Stand and Hold. I see this as units that can just move up, stand on the objective, and not die. We're pretty good with that currently, with the way cover works, the way hidden works. You know, if you don't shoot and you run up 20 boys with gas and a banner knob, you get that 5-up invuln all the time, they're going to have a hard time killing you, especially if you play Warhorde, right? I like to make that unit -1 to wound. Your opponent is not going to remove that unit in one activation, so you sort of force them to put more fire into you. But I just like the stand and hold option. A lot of our units have OC2, so we're pretty good at just standing on objectives, moving up, stealing objectives from your opponent, and preventing them from scoring. So I think these are 3 great playstyles to lean into moving into 11th edition. That being said, the Waaagh is going to change. But currently, I don't think it's going to change too much. It's going to operate very similarly, but it gives us some things. So I'm going to say some stuff about the new Waaagh, but also it does not change what happens about our current Waaagh before the Codex. Orcs. We have the ability to threaten our opponent's entire army in one turn, and it is a very scary turn because currently it's advance and charge, 5-up invulnerable save, +1 strength, +1 attacks. That is crazy. One of the best one-turn abilities in the game. It gives you the ability to cover a lot of board space. The average orc unit, 18-inch threat range in the Waaagh. Dawn of War deployment is in the game again, and it's big, right? I think a lot of tournaments in 10th, nobody was doing Dawn of War deployment. Now it's in the rotation, so you could match into an opponent and only be 18 inches away from your opponent's front line. So you can threaten their entire army in one turn if you deploy right, if you stage correctly. You could also use the Waaagh to target priority targets. If you know your opponent has a couple of units that stand out as dangerous targets, right? Or things that could wipe your army in a whole turn, you could use the Waaagh, run up, take out that target, and now all of a sudden you're feeling good because now their big shooting threat is gone, right? So they only have a bunch of chaff to protect their home objective or something. So priority targets or their entire army. It's your choice. The world is your oyster. I also love the Waaagh because a 5-up invulnerable save plus cover bonus in 11th edition might be one of the best combinations in the game. Orcs secretly, because of the -1 to hit thing, well, I guess it's not a secret anymore. Because of infantry getting the cover mechanics and the hidden rule, we got so much tankier. It was like all of our units gained stealth all of a sudden. That is so strong, right? There's a lot of enemies in the game that are hitting on 4s or 3s, so reducing their hit ratio by 20 to 30% is insane, honestly. It means we're making less saves, and then when we are making saves, assuming they don't have a million AP, you're making 5-ups and 6-ups. A little swingy, but if you roll hot, there's still a chance. The new Waaagh is also really interesting to me because we will always get to reroll advances, not just for that one turn a game. So if you're playing units with assault, or like when you call your one turn riled up, if I can choose to do my war cry, I have assault. I can reroll my advances. I can get into range, shoot something in rapid fire with whatever guns I need to, take out the important stuff, and then I'm free. I can run around, do whatever I need to do. You can advance and charge still, but I like the Waaagh change to this keyword riled up because there might be some ways that we could trigger the war cry, maybe through units or characters or detachments in the future, right? With Bully Boys and their double Waaagh, I imagine we'll get something similar, but maybe some characters will provide that for us. We have yet to see. Speculation. Couldn't tell you. But the Waaagh, one of the greatest rules in the game, and I think it's only going to get better. So if you came into Orcs now at the start of 11th, there's a lot of options out there, right? You have Warhorde, the classic. It was basically our index detachment from 10th edition. I played it most of 10th edition because everything else did not really fit my personal playstyle, but I love Warhorde because it's lethal. One of the most lethal detachments in the game. Sustained hits always for all melee. Crazy. Super strong for nearly every single unit in our list, in our army. Boys, great. Boys with Gaz, even better, right? Warhorde murders everything. One of the most popular combos in 10th edition that is now still playable, or even better now because you can have 3 characters in a boys unit. Big Mech with the +2 move enhancement. So Gaz and 20 boys, you can move an extra 2, so Gaz moves 7. Then you can use the +2 to advance and charge. Big Mech lets you re-roll advances, so on average, Gaz is going to advance 6, and then you have a +2 to your charge. So even if you roll, let's say, an average charge, right, 6, somewhere around there, you're still getting the +2. That's an 8-inch charge. So in all, Gaz's threat range is like 21 inches with 20 boys and the Big Mech with that enhancement. It's expensive, but Now you can put a banner knob in that unit and give that unit 5 up invulnerable all the time. Super strong. Best combo. I've been running it for a while, ever since they let Gaz attach to boys. I know a lot of other people are too. Other things to look at, I think Green Tide and Tactical Brigade is a good choice. Boys, always advancing, always doing actions. Sounds awesome. Green Tide is another way. If you have 10 or more units, 10 or more models in the unit, you get a 5 up invulnerable save. So, invulnerable saves all the time. You don't even need the banner knob. You could swap him out for the big boss and just give those big 20 boy bricks sustained hits in Green Tide also. Super strong. I think that's going to be a good thing to look at moving forward. But I don't know what's going to happen when the codex drops. And the new boys units, you have the bigger base for the knob. He's not on a 32 like all the boys now. The war boss's base got a little bigger. So I don't know how good running big 20-man units of boys will be in the future. Big Hunt. I love squigs. I think a lot of people didn't like the squigs in 10th edition. Totally understandable. They were very expensive for what they did. I think 170 at the end of the edition or something like that, which was like borderline unplayable for a unit that hits on threes still. You get the volume, but feel no pain. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff that could kill a unit of squigs in one activation. Now, they're, I believe, 140, so even cheaper than a 20-man unit of boys. For T7, 3 wounds each, the knob has 4, and a 5 up feel no pain. That is so good. That is such a great profile for so cheap. They are just in line with Mega Knobs now, I think, that both are usable. Big Hunt, the best pairing you could do with Big Hunt is Roland Def. I used 3 kill rigs like all of last edition, mostly in Warhorde, but now that kill rigs, you can give them the enhancement for +1 to charge jumping out. Big Hunt lets you reroll charges into your prey target. So all of a sudden you have 20, 30 Beast Naga boys with extra AP against your target, getting +1 to charge, reroll charges against your prey. I don't know how good the extra AP is going to be moving into 11th edition, purely because most of our enemies are going to have invulnerable saves, so I don't know if the extra AP is going to push that over, but going into targets with a 2 up save and a 4 up invulnerable, Big Hunt is going to be pretty good because you're going to push your opponent to that invulnerable save most of the time, and that's any character, monster, or vehicle unit. Pretty much everybody is going to have one of those things in 11th edition, so it's playable. I think it's doable. I like the strats in that detachment as well for Big Hunt. Squig Shock, pair that with lethals, lethal or sustained crit 5s into your prey target. A lot of good stuff. Big Hunt is something to look at. I know people currently who are more interested in freebooter crew with more DACA. Purely, and I think this is the best reason to run this combo, Gaz with boys or Mega Knobs being in the Waaagh 24/7 just for standing on an objective. That is so good. I don't think there's much else in the game better than that currently. I probably wouldn't, personally, I wouldn't even shoot Gaz's gun. I would just stand him up on the objective. 20 boys with a pain boy. Maybe some other character also, maybe the Big Mech too, just for fun. Since if you're standing on the objective, you get the perma-Waaagh. I don't know. It's up to you. There's tons of other combos you can do. Ludas with the shock attack gun. Ludas effectively break the game because they shoot on 6s. So you can't, I'm pretty sure a critical 6 always hits. So there's no way that you can hit worse than a 6. A 6 to hit is a critical hit. It always hits. So they effectively ignore cover, or they're unaffected by it. So something to think about. Tank Bustas with ignores cover, and Big Mech with shock attack gun. I think that kills pretty much any vehicle or monster you throw at them. Really good for killing Terminators too, which I think we'll probably see a lot of. Things to think about. I'm sure there's some other combos. If you know any combos that I did not list, put them down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Some units. I already talked about a couple of these, but Squig Hogs, really cheap for what they are now. Really good. I think Mazrog is amazing. Mazrog doesn't die. 4 up invulnerable, 5 up feel no pain. The beast boss on Squigosaur. In Warhorde, he is amazing with the Head Wappa's Kill Choppa. Gives him dev wounds. He has anti 4 up. So, anytime you're in contact with a monster or vehicle, he's strength 6, doesn't matter. Anti 4 up. Anything that goes through is devastating. It's crazy. He can spike, especially if you give him crit 5s and he sustains. Heroic, the beast boss on Squig. The new heroic intervention. Squigs can abuse this. If you come in from reserves, you stay outside of 8, put yourself near an enemy or a friendly, wait for that friendly to get charged, spend 1 CP and charge that unit. Guess what? They reduce the cost by 1. So, Squig Hogs with a beast boss on Squig, charging something that just charged is free. And they get +1 to charge. You are almost always going to connect if you're at least within 7 inches. The odds that you make that charge, incredibly easy. Or you spend 1 CP because of the -1, and you charge something else within 6. If it got closer, that did not charge. Great choice. I think Squigs are going to be awesome. Boys, always a good pick. Especially these new sculpts. I mean, look at these guys. They're absolutely bonkers. They are OC bombs. 2 OC apiece. That is crazy for a 10-man unit. So if your opponent has a Primarch and just some Terminators on an objective, 1 unit of boys is going to steal that objective from them. That is crazy. 75 points. Can out OC 400 points or more worth of stuff. That is too good to pass up. Every list should have at least 1 unit of boys, whether or not you throw characters in them or not. 1 unit of 10 boys, no characters, can still win you the game just because of sticky objectives and being able to throw 20 OC on an objective. I also like Zagrod for that point. Trucks. The new truck models are amazing. We are getting Orc monster trucks. And not just are they monster trucks, they are going to hit like monster trucks. The new power claws, they have the grabbing claw or the buzzsaw. I'm probably going to go for the claw usually. Same thing with the shooters or the rockets. Great options. Trucks are going to be just as deadly as they are decent at transporting things now. And they also have the new disembark rule. So if an opponent moves within 8 inches, you will be able to tactical disembark. So that means your unit can jump out of the truck within 3 inches. This is crazy. This opens you up for snap shooting. So if you have a unit of flash gets in that truck and they move some trash up close to the objective to try and take it from you, you can hop out your flash gets, shoot that unit, and probably kill them because you have sustained hits and maybe even lethal hits. I'm not thinking you're going to kill a lot of things with the lethal hits, but the sustained hits is really good. You only hit on 6s anyways in snap shooting. Or you hop a unit out within 3, your opponent wants to charge something, and you get to heroic now because that unit is now out of the transport on the battlefield. Or you tactical disembark onto an objective, and all of a sudden you've thrown your opponent's game plan in a loop because they don't get their bonuses from their detachment or their army rule because they needed to control that objective, or now they don't score at the end of their turn because they had to control that point. Great options. Trucks, always good. I used to run a bunch back in 10th at the beginning. I think transports are kind of a trap in 11th, but we'll see what happens with the trucks, and we'll see how long these things go, because there's some balance issues, I think, with the game, but trucks will still be great. Gazskul Thraka, greatest data sheet that we have available to us, period. He kills everything. 12 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 8, AP 2, damage 2, is nuts. He's going to wipe a squad of Marines. He's going to wipe pretty much any infantry you throw at him with that. And then his strike profile, if your opponent does not have an invulnerable save on a monster or a vehicle, and you strike with Gaz, you will kill that monster or vehicle. 4 damage. Believe it's AP 3. 4 damage. Hitting on 2s, strength 14. And if he's leading a unit, +1 to hit and +1 to wound. With the new leader rules, Gaz is always +1 to hit and wound if he's alive, because you're leading the unit, even if your unit is dead. You won't get the rules from that squad, right? So if he's leading Mega Knobs, you're not going to get his their feel no pain if they die. But Gaz always being +1 to hit and wound is crazy. He's basically always going to hit and wound on 2s against whatever he fights. That is so good. Murders everything. Makari is great. And with the way the new leader stuff works, if they precision Gaz out, your unit that's attached is still going to get +1 to hit and wound, because Makari and the way that Gaz's data sheet is written, if Makari or Gaz is alive and leading the unit, they get +1 to hit and wound. They get Makari's rules. It's fantastic. There's also some great new options with the triple character stuff, attaching to boys. You could do the big boss. You could do banner knob, big mech. There's a ton of combos. Maybe in another video I could speak more about that if you guys are interested in learning more about specific orc data sheets. I played orcs all 10th edition. I played about 200 games of 40k almost. So, well, that's too many. Maybe it was more like 100 something. Maybe not 200. I played a lot of 40k, played a lot of tournaments, ran a lot of tournaments. So if you're interested in learning about any of these single units, let me know. I would love to do deep dive videos about more of these units. So that's the stuff I think you should watch. How do you get started? So if you're already an orc player, or if you're just getting into 40k and you're like, man, orcs are best, green is good, here's some ways you can get into the hobby. Starting with a 10th edition combat patrol is not a bad idea. You get 2 units of Snagga Boys and a Beast Boss, and the Squig Hogs. Those are good units. I think they're going to be playable in 11th. I don't know how many people are going to be running vehicles, but boys are boys. They hit hard. Snagga Boys are great. Full reroll to hit against monster vehicle. The Armageddon box. So there's the battalion. So if you're interested in speed freaks, if you want to make a Mad Max orc army, that Armageddon box, the battalion battle force, great option. Boomdaka Snazwagon is the greatest named vehicle in the orc roster. Defcopters are fun. 6 flying helicopters with rocket launchers, and the Defkilla Wartrike. He's just good. He's okay. And we're getting new war bikers. So that box, great choice if you want to get into speed freaks through Speed Waaagh or Cult of Speed, or the Armageddon box itself. I think the units in the Armageddon box lean well into Green Tide. They lean decently into Bully Boys. And even if you're interested in Dread Mob, the Big Mech Daka rig is pretty good. I've played a few games with him. I'm not totally wowed by him, but for 100 points, I'm not complaining about his profile. The new introductory set, they are releasing other new boy sculpts in that introductory set. So if you know someone who's getting into Warhammer, they want to play Space Marines, you can take the Orcs, they can take the Marines. You'd have some cool boys to start your Waaagh. Exodites. So Eldar are getting some dinosaurs, which means we get some squigs. Snagga Boys and squigs come in that box. So if you're just looking to fill out your roster, get some more units, fill up some more points, that's a great option. I also love Old Hammer. The older models that are legends or just not really played anymore, you could still find them for cheap. I have a ton of boys from Black Reach, other stuff, right? Like any of the plastic kits, they're still playable. Put them on 32s. The profiles don't look too much different. Nobody's going to complain if you're across the table from them with 120 painted boys from 10, 15 years ago. Nobody's going to care. You're still playing the game. You're still out there. You're still spreading the Waaagh. So don't feel bad about that. Older models are great. You could also proxy them as other models. Just tell your opponent. That is about it. Thanks for watching. If there's any other orc content you're interested in, or if there's any other factions that you'd like to see why should we play? Let me know. I would love to bring you that information. Expect some more videos in the future. This was Hunter from Gator Games, and Waaagh!